good to see some people jumping in. Hope everybody's doing good. I'll give it a few minutes, let everybody get settled in, and then we'll get started. But if anybody has anything they want to discuss in particular, or anything, feel free to jump in, and we can keep it kind of open for the moment. And we'll probably start at about, I guess it would be 11:05 for y'all. So we'll give it a few here and then jump on it. So we got Regina, Jeff, and Eddie, Yvonne. Gina Marie jumping in. Morning, Jacqueline. Just saw that in the note. Good to see ya.
Now.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow, cool. Look at you. Oh, look at you. Oh, freaking cool. Oh, I'm gonna last there. Love it. All right, sweet. We got Eddie, Regina, Yvonne, Jacqueline. Jacqueline chimed in the chat. How are y'all doing? Eddie, Regina, Yvonne. Anybody who want to show their face or their voice, feel free. All right, still give it a few here. And then I'll just jump on it. Cool. Yeah, I had a couple people say they're going to be joining in, but just a little bit late. So I'm going to give them a few minutes, and then we'll get going on this. Like I said, for now, if anybody has any questions, I'll probably we'll do some little breaks, and I'll call on y'all, and I invite anybody to chime in as we go through certain elements. These are things that a lot of stuff, this what I did when I was an agent, which was 10 years ago. So there's a lot of obviously newer, this is a constantly evolving industry, and we all have different approaches. So totally open to, and more than open to, but invite and welcome any input, any insights, things that are working for you, hurdles you're hitting, etc., with your buyer presentation. This entire class is just focusing on, or this entire coaching is just focusing on the buyer presentation as much as anything really on the preparation side. I'm not going to get too much into NAR and handling all that, though while preparing for this training, I watched quite a few YouTube videos, including from Tom Ferry, listened to some podcasts from the GSD Mode podcast, which I listen to all the time, which has great content. But yeah, a lot of it came from that, and I'm not going to get into legal stuff as far as NAR. We can have a discussion about it on what talk tracks that I might approach or utilize, and of course what y'all are using. But more so focusing here. I'll just kind of open up this presentation so we can look at it. One moment, let me get this going. So yeah, we're just going to be. Let me actually just share my screen real quick before. I'll just jump into it. Since we're already 6 minutes after, does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to bring up before I jump in? Or anything they're seeing, maybe adjustments they're making in the current market, anything maybe currently or in the past that's worked well with buyer presentations? Or if there's anything specific you're looking for out of this coaching. Hopefully I have it planned, and if not, hopefully I can pivot, and if not, hopefully I can provide after. Okay, sweet. All right, well, we got a loud crowd here, so I'll jump on. All right, sweet. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll just get going. So let me go ahead and do that. So Like I mentioned, we're just looking at knowing your buyer presentation. We're not actually doing a class on presenting the buyer presentation, but looking at how to prepare, where you can add elements to show value, and again, we'll go into a little bit possibly about defending your commissions and so forth. But more so, yeah, just more so focusing on the preparation side of it. So as I just said, our meeting agenda, we're looking at preparation and strong buyer presentation elements, showing your value, not being just a me too, or not being just another realtor, but someone who separates yourselves as a professional, and the person leaving no doubts in the consumer's mind that you are the best person to help them reach and achieve their goals. And then ways to support this, optimizing your online presence, client testimonials, case studies. We'll get into more options, and then practice, practice, practice. There's a couple things I want to kind of note on here, and it sticks out to me a lot in general, but it really stuck out to me watching some videos too. And it was presented like, okay, so I'd like to ask the class, like, and just nothing exact, throw up a number or put it in the chat if you can. Like, how long would you say, if you just round it up or down, how many hours do you prepare for a listing presentation? And I would say that I used to probably do at least 4, probably 3 to 4 hours, depending. If it was a new area that I had to drive the neighborhood, or really, 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 really hone in on, market activity to get up to speed, et cetera, et cetera. But I would spend quite a bit of time looking at the activity, and not only doing CMAs, but finding out what didn't sell, and trying to find out why, getting insight on the actual the sellers themselves, et cetera. So all I know for me, when I would do listing presentations, they were a big deal. They were like a job, like a homework for me. I had to prepare for them. But to be totally honest, I'm not proud to say this, for buyers, I did not approach it in nearly the same way. Buyer presentation, buyer preparation for me sometimes was 5 minutes, printing out some MLS sheets and a quick little jot of what sold in the neighborhood and just showing up. I didn't do it in the best way. This was also over 10 years ago, when elements were different. I wasn't working with a CRM. I didn't have like a branded buyer presentation, et cetera, et cetera. And I wasn't doing my job at the highest level, because I was I got into real estate in 18, which was a tough time. I'm sorry, 08, which was a tough time, but it quickly shifted. And, 2010, 11, and on until I stopped working as a realtor in 2016. More or less, I was doing real estate in what I've now learned to the term is termed pitch and catch. Leads were just coming in. I was getting tons of leads. So if I handled whatever, if I lost some, cool, whatever, I had tons of shiny objects to chase. And that's how real estate has been, in my opinion, like for the last 10 plus years. The market's been really strong for the most part, really strong. And you can easily grab buyers offline and get leads, open houses, sign calls, etc. And it's shifting. It's not that way anymore. Even this year already, we've seen that, and even last year. So it's been a shift where you have to work a lot harder. You get a lot less leads. So ideally, you're putting more effort streamlining, and ideally the same effort. So you're not having to recreate the wheel every time for each lead. And yeah, you have to. And so in doing that, especially with these NAR changes, et cetera, that's why I scheduled this class. I'm not obviously doing these because I'm not working as an active realtor, but I really wanted to share anything I could find that's current, anything that I utilize that worked for me, and open it up to y'all, so we could all help each other, like, do our best in presenting ourselves to buyers, and presenting what our value is to a buyer in their home buying process. Again, we didn't have to do this really strong in the past, and most people aren't doing this. So if you can get ahead of the game, you will be, and you'll be set up for success. Cool. Anybody want to share anything about what they're doing for buyers or sellers right now? If not, I won't force anybody to talk, and especially Christina, because she's the only one with the camera on, so I don't want to penalize her, but good to see you. All right, cool. Great. So we'll jump on here. Moving on. Boop, boop, boop. I'm gonna turn the windows up. So yeah, as we looked at meeting agenda, so we'll just look at briefly preparation, strong buyer elements. So as I just asked, how long are you spending with your prepare your buyer presentation? Whatever this is, if you're not spending more, if you're not treating it similar to a listing presentation, I'd recommend you look at that. Because we used to, it's very interesting. And I hadn't thought about this way, like how much we go into a listing presentation, fight for a commission, put all of our rocks into that. Yet for a buyer, we often don't put nearly as much effort into that. Well, now we kind of do have to, because we have to show our worth. We have to explain why we're getting paid and why they might have to be responsible for some of that payment, et cetera, et cetera. So um, again, most people aren't doing this. The majority of the industry has been doing it just the way I was doing it, and or most of you probably were doing it, where cool, maybe some of us are doing it at a little higher level, showing up with a guide or an actual printed out buyer presentation or one that's in an iPad, walking them through it. But a lot of agents are just showing up with maybe the listing on their phone or a couple little printouts. And that's your opportunity right there to separate yourselves from those agents. And if that is you, awesome. That's your opportunity to level yourself up. And then what I recommend, and this is what we've been asking for, where we sent out these forms last week, asking you guys for your agent bio and if you have any favorite client reviews you would like to share, is because we want to create a buyer presentation and listing presentation that are branded for each of you. I'll kind of review what we've created. We have a buyer presentation that we've just created. It's in the works of being finished over the next like 24 to 48 hours. But let me see if I can present this a little better. But essentially, buyer's guide. The page I want to focus on is this page. It's not final. We're tweaking it to make it look a little cleaner, but essentially, we want to make sure right off the bat they get to know you. A little intro, just so you anything you could separate yourself. So boom, obviously your name, your bio here, and then a couple reviews. Boom. If you only have one, we'll tweak it. We'll do the best with what you have. Make sure they know you're a top agent, your contact information. Boom. That's it. Kind of keep it simple, fast to the point. But people, of course, I think we can all agree. I don't need to like do any training or show stats to verify or to validate the importance of your reviews. But again, you don't need to have a Zillow review. You can have a client email you a review, and then we can add it to here. All of you that are part of our Flex team are automatically top agents on Zillow, so this will be added if you are, and if you're not, we'll just remove it, and etc. So at least give them a chance to know you. You want to level that up? Intro video, which we do and we have, but you can update those. You can perfect those. I would recommend like doing a video on these NAR changes, showing them, hey, just wanted to let you know a lot of changes in the industry and a lot of confusion. Want to clarify that and lay it out. Create videos. You can put that into mass emails, mass text in Lofty. You could put that into a smart plan. You can also put that into social media. You can leverage that all over the place. You can repurpose it, resend it. Really, really, I think this time in the industry, as kind of hard as it is sometimes to hear when people, it seems like people sugarcoat not ideal situations, like, oh, it's scary, oh, this is great, but I really do, and I really, really believe that now. Like, it's going to filter out so many agents that are half-ass, that don't take a lot of pride in their work, and really, really being the professional and the best they can be. And it's going to leave a lot of opportunity for those that either are or are ready to be. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working for here, trying to get this personalized. If you don't have this information to me, the buyer, the generic template will still be available for you to use, until you are able to provide this to us. And then it's just really like the buyer presentation. I'm going to briefly go into it, but the kind of with the goals of it. The goal is to give the consumer a very clear path. What is their path to buying a home? What do they need to do? How can you help them do that? And where do they have issues? Where do they have questions, concerns, doubts, confusion? That's where right off the bat you can fill in and you can be you can provide value, right off the bat, and just making sure that they're clearly. I heard a really good line in the Zillow Premier, the Zillow Top Performer webinar that I attended just before this, and it said like, and we all know a confused buyer buys nothing. They said it a little more elegantly, but I was like, wow, yeah, that's so true. And that's how I am. when I'm trying to buy anything. Even if it like, obviously I'm not buying homes, I travel, but I'm trying to figure out where to travel with my dog and I can't figure out what country I can even get into or what to do. I just like move on to another one. Very, very not uh not an example really relevant to this class, but just for example, like when confusion handcuffs decision making. So yeah, this is just terminology. I'm just briefly reviewing this actual presentation with you, but again, just trying to provide information, educate them, etc. Finding an agent, what you want to look for in an agent. Obviously, we're trying to set that up for us. Financial planning, exploring homes, checklist for them, making an offer, um, doing your due diligence, kind of just laying out the whole process, scheduling for your move, closing. Um, we're removing this. We're probably going to make this more of a like our team and develop and deliver like what support you get in the transaction. For example, transaction coordinators being an example. Title.
Oh, sorry, I just killed my audio.
So yeah, that's the idea. We don't want to focus on that page. But what I would like to do too, after listening to these the podcast, a couple podcasts and some YouTube trainings, is they really wanted to focus on case studies. So finding where you saved your client, and not especially if you can show money, and what you did. So those are things that people can really relate to. So you're ingraining a little fear, like this could happen if you end up with the wrong agent or try to do this on your own. This is what I was able to do in this scenario for these clients. This was what I was able to do. So if you can get, like for example, like getting reviews, great. But if you can also guide your clients to review about specific things. So it's like, hey, great, Christina, really, really awesome working with you and your family. So glad to see you guys get in the home of your dreams, and wish you nothing but the best going forward. Obviously, I'm still here for you at any moment, and as your advisor, should you ever need anything. And of course, whatever, however you want to develop that, if you want to talk about referrals, but would love if you could take just a few minutes to help support my business by leaving a review on my Zillow, and if possible, copying the same review to my Google My Business. Yeah, feel free to leave anything you want, and don't hesitate to mention where I, helped you shop loans, and we ended up getting a loan for you that was 0.5% lower with $1,500 in fees, and where we end up saving $56,000 over the next 10 years for you. Something like that. Guide them, give them something. They can just copy and paste it even. And then you guide them too, like get that out everywhere you want. That's where it's, hey, love this review on Zillow. If you could just like copy the same review over to Google, but super appreciate it. Da, da, da. And then whatever. It's a whole nother kind of topic focusing on how to get these. But I like how Sean Herrera mentions, he just offers, I'm going to get you an Amazon gift card. And once you do it, he doesn't say 4 or 5-star review, just any review. If you could take the time, token my appreciation, would love to shoot you an Amazon gift card. Up to you what you want to value that. Da, da, da. If you don't have any reviews, highly recommend just getting them. Just get them. Ask for them. All that somebody can do is say no. Obviously, we're not asking people that we had a bad experience with or that might leave a shitty review, but asking for others' reviews. I'll finish with this as far as best practice. In my experience, and what I feel is a pretty general consensus in the industry, is the best time to get those reviews is right before closing, like in between when all conditions have been met, and closing. So once appraisal, you've been appraised, all the financing conditions have been met, everything, you essentially more or less have a clear to close. Any time in that period is the best time. They're still invested with you. They're not busy moving in and moving on to their next goals in life, etc. And they still got to see you. So it's nice to, okay, awesome. Hey, and I would probably even mess with it to being done on clients. Hey, just shooting you this. Let's say it's 10 days before closing. Love if you could take a minute to send me a review before we change keys and things get a little hectic. Don't worry, I'll be bugging you between now and closing if you forget about this, but hope, however you want to deliver that, have some fun with it, and then get it. And then do it in closing. If they haven't done it yet, oftentimes there's a time in closing where it's just kind of like the title takes off to do some copies or print and come back, check on financing, approve funding. That's where you could ask for it too. Ask for it there, and or get a video review. If you get some cool clients that are willing to do it, get a video review, even better, real life. Then you could add that to your presentation or to your email that you deliver the presentation in, etc. Add that to your YouTube, all of your socials, etc. You can add that to your front page of your Zillow if you wanted. So a lot of things you can do with that. I'm heavy on reviews, but that's why I'm going a little further on that than I initially intended. But yeah, really focus on that, and then you can really leverage those. I would honestly, if I was an agent and I had good reviews, I would send those out. Like if I got 10 good reviews, I would have one going out a month to my whole database. Hey, just want to share. I know whatever, I can talk all day with how amazing I am, but figured it might hit harder, might hit home coming from a client of mine like you or someone like you. Whatever, deliver it for it's boom, make it real simple, because you're leveraging other people's amazing endorsement and opinion of you, and that goes further than anything you could ever say about yourself, except if you're going to tell them that you'll pay them to work for them or something, which we obviously are never going to do. So yeah, really focus in on that and leverage those case studies, your testimonials. Those will be one of your very best friends going forward. I think I want to share something that they mentioned just to kind of support this with the buyer presentation elements. So I'm going to take off my audio so you guys can hear it.
Share my screen. Look at what these gentlemen recommend doing.
Yeah. And you know what? That
Paul, don't make fun of my content.
I'm not. And their brokerage decides to do. So what are
this is talking about like everybody's doing this content, which we did as well. Like, hey, there's 65 ways I negotiate for you, et cetera, et cetera. So just to give you some.
It's important to the customer. Risk mitigation, that you're going to take care of me, that you're going to provide all these services.
And I want to hear all that actually.
The second part of what we wanted to talk about today is what are the elements someone should have in their buyer consultation that creates what's important to the customer? Risk mitigation, that you're going to take care of me, that you're going to provide all these services that would then justify a flat fee or a percentage fee, whatever this person and their brokerage decide to do. So what are some of those elements?
Well, there's a lot of talk on this right now, and there are some documents that are floating around.
Yeah.
And some of these documents are, the 90 things that I do, or the 30-something things that I do to negotiate on your behalf.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Paul, don't make fun of my content.
I'm not. I'm saying it's valuable, and I'm saying that's the minimum.
Shout out to the spelling group, right, who helped us publish this. So thank you guys.
No, and it's incredibly valuable, and it's
Yes.
getting out there, and it's
Yes.
wonderful. But it's the baseline.
Thank you.
That's the minimum
Thank you.
mandatory. And if you don't have a buyer presentation
Yes.
at all,
Yes.
you're hurting against everyone that's doing this.
Correct.
But what you don't want to do is be a Me Too. And I'm not
Yes.
talking about the Hollywood Me Too. I'm
Yeah.
saying, I talk about the 100 things that I do that I
Yes.
do for you.
Yes.
Well, me too. I talk about the 37 things that I negotiate on your behalf. Well, me too. And you can't be just a Me Too. You need to do more than that. And how do you differentiate? And what I submit to you is we need to be problem solvers and solution providers. Not everybody has the same problem. We need to listen to find out what are their problems and be that solution provider. Now, I'll submit to you that you need to have a spectrum of solutions in your presentation ready to go to talk about this. And if you don't have these in your presentation, I guess what? Your competitor will.
Yes.
So maybe something about rent to own. What about a buy before you sell? And here's something that's really interesting. Buyers right now, they're wanting move-in perfect.
Yes.
Right. How many move-in perfect homes are there? And there's
Very
limited
few.
inventory.
Yeah.
So what do? Hey, how about this? What if I could tell you that I could get you into a house at a cheaper price and we can make it move-in perfect custom for you? I mean, all that is a 203K loan.
Yeah.
And you have it, but now you can articulate about solving problems. What about alternative financing? There's so many people that are now facing competitive offer situations. And I know as we get into the year, we're going to get into that even more. So how do you take a finance buyer and make them competitive? And there are programs out there that you can convert somebody to a cash buyer. Do you have that solution available? And yes, I know there's a fee for this, but it's a service that's being provided. And the question is not the value that we place on that fee, but that the buyer places on the fee because they want that house.
Yes.
There's other parts of this as well. What do you do for off-market? Could you look for off-market properties? Yes, but do you have a program that does it? Do you
Yes.
have a structured focus on how to do that?
And this is where you can go, hey, here's my direct mail campaign. I will circle dial where appropriate, with all the, the telephone rules. But here's an example. Here's a case study of a customer just like you. One of my, well, keep going down your list, and then I want to put a bow on how we might demonstrate all this.
Well, so my wife got me this cool looking knife as a Christmas gift. God, I love her. At first, I thought it looked like a sword.
Well, there's a couple others here. Property management, whether you provide it or you have a solution for it. Auctions, do you have a solution for how you stand on the courthouse steps with somebody and walk them through the process?
Sure.
What about new construction?
Yes,
With new
thank
construction,
you.
you have another thing. You should know what the quarter end and the year end is for each one of those builders, because I guarantee you, you're going to get a deal in those months.
Right.
So there's, again, all these solutions that you can provide. And with these solutions, again, you're now raising the bar and you're no longer going to be a me too.
Yeah. I want to stress someone watching right now, and I'm curious so far, just maybe give some comments. What did you just hear from Paul that you're thinking, yeah, I do talk about those things, but I've maybe never had it on a list or formalized it. It's always been sort of a context. Hey, how do we solve? And then you're like, oh, the 203K loan. But instead, what I'm hearing you say is, I should be presenting samples of the menu of services that I provide above and beyond just risk mitigation, which is the number one thing, by the way, from the 1,000-watt survey that buyers want from you. So I hope you have somewhere in your presentation how you solve problems of, crazy houses, maybe something wrong with title, right? Solving escrow issues, all that stuff. Remember, the seller is divesting, the buyer is investing. Seller's divesting, buyer is investing, and they're looking for you to be their solution. So how do you recommend that they display all of this?
Well, it's interesting you say that. And just first you have to define it.
Okay, cool. This is a super good video, obviously. That's why I watch it. So that's why I'm presenting it. So highly recommend. Again, there is so much out there. It's almost overwhelming with the amount of information that you can, same thing for anything. You want to learn Spanish, go and Google that, YouTube that, you get a million options. Just find one and go with it. And if it's crap, go to the next. Don't worry about trying to find the very best. But you can obviously narrow it down by just your search results typically are going to show you popular videos. Tom Ferry is obviously a very, very successful, really, really experienced high-level coach. So I felt really comfortable when I Googled that and I saw him, cool. And I saw it was fresh content. That was why I watched that. But there's a million things out there and other people are going to have different approaches and different ideas. I recommend as much as you can take, I have probably my biggest regret when I was a realtor was not being more focused on leveling myself up. It took me so long for the first year just to get comfortable in the industry and feel confident in myself to even ask for business, to even suggest somebody work for me. Now, once I got going and I was busy, I kind of just left the coaching aside. It became it wasn't a priority. It's later, I'm busy, I'm making money, whatever, I'm good. And I really wish I had focused more on stuff I focus on now. I listen to more podcasts and watch more YouTubes now, not being a realtor, just because I like to be in the game, stuff that I can provide y'all, being up to speed. And I love the evolution of it. And I love all the different tricks and ways you can separate yourself and be the best version of yourself as a human and a realtor. So recommend finding somebody. Again, I listen to the GSD podcast. It's Get Shit Done podcast. Badass. And then YouTube, I don't do a lot of because most of the stuff I do when I'm on the go. I do it when I'm at the gym. I do it when I'm whatever, getting my morning started. I do stuff when I'm working. I'll have a podcast on, but yeah, it's totally up to you. I highly recommend though. Find somebody you like and dive in. Cool. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Sharing that? Does anybody do any of this? Or I would just love to hear a voice other than mine for even if it's just hi, thank you, or hi, I don't like this. Oh, Christina, you better believe I'm starting you because you're the only one on here. Bless your heart. I bet you wish you had curlers in today and could have put the camera on. Huh?
Stop it. My hair doesn't take curls. It's so straight. That's why. Anyway, yeah, what I got out of your presentation is we better be prepared to answer, to give them a solution to the problem they might have without asking us, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I also kind of feel like a lot of these people, a lot of buyers or sellers, they don't really read through our packet. Because if it's more than 3 pages, they're probably just gonna go look. They don't even really read it. So when I present to them my buyer's guide, I actually just go to like, okay, on this page, you can go see this, 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 this. And then it's up to you to read it when you go to bed tonight.
Yeah, nice, nice. I think that's good. But like, I think most of these, almost all these things are really, you feel it out. It's a case by case. If you have like a Heidi person, someone who's really detailed and really like new with a lot of questions, great. That'd probably be the perfect person to go through page by page because they're going to
No,
really
buddy.
love it. But yeah, maybe, and not saying, not challenging. Like, I agree. The majority will not be looking through all this, and maybe they even will, but it won't be like right away. They'll probably just use it when they need it or they have questions. But I do think, I don't know, but I do think if I was a buyer and I got like a few different presentations and I'm trying to decide which agent, I'm having something, whatever they said or connected, nothing separated, I'll probably use what they've provided, see who's more, even if it's just to see who's professional, who does something right, who's most current. If I looked at one and it looked like it was made in 1994, and I looked at one that looked like it was made today, even if the one today had some spellos or like some spelling errors, I'll probably go with the more modern one. I don't know, but that's a me thing. Somebody else might go with the one that's perfect and old because it's mistake free. So you just never know. But yeah, I do agree. Like the buyer presentation, it's not there for you to like deliver 14 pages and hope that they're looking for a 15th with a place to sign. No, it's there to educate them should they want, but it's there to also kind of show them, you know the process. Here's what it is. But that's why I really think it's good to focus on adding something about yourself in there where they get to know you, what separates you, give them a little bit of an idea of experiences your clients have had working with you as a realtor. Because if they haven't been referred to you, that will be the greatest thing you can leverage, your past clients' experiences. If you're brand new, you can't do that, but you can maybe get some reviews from people who have worked with you in another job and just put that in there. This doesn't say like, you sold a house to them. It's just saying your client reviews, or so you can add something to experience working with you. And then obviously once you sell your first house, get that review and boom, there you are, you're good. And then you have momentum to get more. I would just let you guys know too, I don't know, I'm going to meet with her about this. Gina Marie just told me yesterday, I haven't checked this, and it was an audio message, so I could have heard it wrong, but I think she has like 50 something reviews in her Google My Business page. Gina Marie started less than a year ago in real estate, like 9 months ago, is not on Zillow, does not get flex leads, has not sold 53 homes, but has sold quite a lot for a brand new agent and is killing it. But she also getting after it. She's really getting after it. Get your damn reviews done. Like a big regret of mine I didn't have as well. So yeah. All that said, so I'll stop on the review thing that I said I would stop on 10 minutes ago, and really stop now. And then we'll actually circle back to it one more time. So cool. So we looked at that. That was just preparation by presentation. Again, and the preparation part, I would spend more time. Again, don't just print out this presentation, but looking at the market, really like think of what do I do for a listing? Okay. And what do I do for a buyer? Yet they both pay me about the same. Yes, the listing is a little obviously better. You don't have to show the listing 40 times. You can get leads off your listing if you have your own signs, your own phone number. We used to use text codes. We used to get a ton of leads off listings. I don't know how much this team focuses on that, but that was like our biggest lead source. But that said, buyers, like, are you putting even half the amount of time to that? And I think the more and more and more you put into this and put your time and preparation, the more results you're going to see, because the majority of the industry has not been doing that, and the majority will not evolve, will not change. So if you do, you're already a step ahead. Cool. We'll stop there. Showing your value. I want to get into a few ways that I used to show my value. They talked about several there that I didn't even ever consider until I was listening to their YouTube, actually. But showing your ability to solve problems, mitigate the risk for the customer, like they noted in the video, the number one thing that consumers are looking for is risk mitigation. So boom, you're able to show them how. I think you could just spend like your buyer presentation explaining two examples of when a contract almost failed to shit after you're under contract. I've talked about this, I think, with Jacqueline or other, like, I think I said it's in a meeting. This is how my mom used to say it when we were in real estate. She was like, we're not realtors, we're freaking firefighters. We literally just put out fires all the time. Like, once we're under contract, it's just fire, and here it's my job to put them out. So show that. And this helps you also pitch your value when you get into commissions, etc. But a lot of people think it's just about negotiating the price of the home. There's a whole lot more to that. You have the initial stage, getting them set up on a search. If you're really next level, looking at coming soons. By the way, coming soons were the way I would convert most of my leads when I was an agent. I would get these flex leads, or not flex, they were just Zillow market-based leads. Get these leads, have a tough time either scheduling an appointment or getting any feedback from them after meeting them. I would search, I don't know if you guys have this in this area, but in Austin, we had a couple of Facebook pages where realtors would put their coming soons. I was on a couple email lists and I just got put on them by agents. Maybe I sold a house with, worked with them on a transaction, whatever, but they would send me like a monthly list of their coming soons. These are high listing agents that have high turnover and activity. And I would just literally, it would be I think I had every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I would go through that Facebook page, both of them, scroll down, and I would go through my email lists and look at all coming soons, and anybody that I had a lead in that area, I would just screenshot and send it over. And it was just a way to show them that I'm looking for them. Like, I'm showing them shit they aren't seeing online, which is then I'm really next level. Now they need me more than Zillow. But I got so many second appointments out of people that I'm guaranteed would have never ever replied to me, but I was doing something different. And this was in a super hot market. Property was just flying off the market within hours. So that was where, and then in that market also, I had most of their searches CCing to me ASAP. So I would make sure I was like, it was emailing them their properties as they were listed, but I knew they weren't watching their email all the time like I am as a realtor. So then I could note, oh, hey, just make sure you caught this, saw it, think we should go see it. Then they see that you're actually filling their gaps. They can't even manage their email, their search as well as you can. So again, showing value. This one right here, I want to focus on. This one I use a ton. This was my number one, and I'm surprised I don't hear it more. And then today in their webinar, I heard them talk about it, and it was the first time I've really heard in a webinar or podcast people talk about this. Shopping multiple lenders to ensure they get the best rate and fees available. If you aren't doing this, I don't know why. I get it. Like, you probably have a lender you really like, you have a relationship, you don't want to disappoint them, you just want to feed them more deals and hope they'll feed you deals. I used to feel the same way, and I went away from this because it's the best for my client. That absolutely all that matters is what's best for my client. This to me is a loan. Most agents will never say this, so you can separate yourself right here if you just talked about this in the buyer presentation. Hey, there's a lot of things I can talk forever and ever about things I can do to provide, guide you in the best manner and provide you the best value to reach your goals in the best way possible. But, right off the bat, I just want to let you know, there's a lot more that going on other than just negotiating the best price on the house for you. For starters, your loan. Unless you're paying cash, You're going to be leveraging, working with a lender to get a loan. And just so that you know, every loan is not the same. Every approval letter or pre-approval is not the same. What I do is I will recommend at least now you contact at least one lender to get started with the financing process and get a feel for where your comfort zone and target zone is before we start searching. Then as we get closer and or once we go under contract, I'm going to recommend you contact at least 1 to 2 more and have them compete for your business. And what does this mean? We take the offer that lender A gave you, we send it to lender B and see if they can beat it. Then we send it back to lender A and see if they can beat it until we get the very best. Yes, my lenders don't love this, but it's in the best interest for you. Right off the bat, you're showing them that you can save them money. Boom. You can break it down and show when you did it too. That would even better. Here's a client that I just did this for. They got a quote at 5.5 and we got them down at 5.15, whatever, saved $1,000 in fees. So over the next 24 months, they're going to save $11,000 simply by shopping alone. And this is like you're uncovering so there you're even like introducing problems they didn't even know. And I will guarantee you could even say like, so hey, I understand, you have a lot of options. It's a tough decision to make with limited, nowadays we can't just show you properties for weeks and months and while you decide if we're the right fit. But these are questions you can ask other people. What would you recommend financing? See if they guide you this way. So you can kind of tee it up. So your competitors are going to fail because most agents don't do this. So if you're doing that right off the bat, again, as they talked about sharing case studies where you showed your clients reviews specific to the value you provided them. So again, showing case studies. But if you get those online or in writing from a client, it's even better than presenting and talking about them because you're showing them. Couple others like they just talked about the rent to own, need to sell before buyer. That's a big one. If you could show examples that you've done it, or at least a clear guide showing them how they can achieve it. And then last thing, like I've said this one before too, condos. I only did this because I actually, by the way, this is one of the coolest stories in my real estate career. One cold call to a listing, trying to get a condo, $180,000. This was in Austin before 2015 when shit just blew up like California. $179,000 expired condo, cold call, turned into an appointment for an entire condo community. And I got it. We sold 36 units there over the next year and a half from one freaking cold call. Not that I'm a badass or that every cold call's that, but you really just never know. Like you might get a call on a lot and they turn out they want a lot because they're a millionaire and they just want to put a bunch of cars there or something and then whatever. So you really, really, really never know who somebody is and what they're going to turn out to be for you. Again, on the other note, I told this to Yvonne yesterday, I think in our training, like you might have also your experience where you meet a lead and they might just seem like they're in the bag, best lead ever. They're my clients. They're going to refer me to that. And then they disappear and you never hear from them again and wonder if they died. So it can happen both ways. But yeah, just keep an open mind and hopefully, obviously, you do the best you can do and you'll get the best results. Cool. Last one I was going to say was condos. If I have somebody looking for a condo, I fucking love it because I know I'm going to say something right off the bat that most agents aren't going to say. We're going to talk about price, what they're looking for and then I'm going to tee it up. I'm going to love this part. I'm like, cool. What's your budget for an HOA? What are you comfortable with monthly if we're looking around this price range? Boom, they're going to say their price range. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'll plug that in. We'll make sure we're looking at properties like that. I'll let you know as we go forward. This is all really, really good that we stay within these parameters. You're comfortable and we find something that works for you. Going forward, there's a little more involved with condos and townhouses to make sure that we're mitigating your risks or that you're protected. And I just want to yes, we want to obviously make sure the HOA fee fits your budget, but something I'll be looking into as we move forward, and especially as you find communities you're really interested in, is making sure the health of the HOA is strong. What does that mean? Meaning your HOA, they get fees from each owner to handle expenses. But if they don't have a strong, prudent reserve, meaning an extra, savings account essentially, then or if they're having regular assessments, meaning, for example, what is an assessment? if they had to replace all of the roofs this year, but they didn't have enough in the prudent reserve to cover it, then they charge that to each owner. So you could be charged $2,000 at the end of the year for their new roof. Or let's say a bigger issue, foundation, plumbing, etc. So we want to make sure you're getting into not only a community that you like, has what you're looking for, fair price, fair HOA, but that you're not at risk of getting huge financial assessments due to your investment. Boom. Most people are never going to talk about that in the world. And if you have somebody interested in a condo, they're going to meet other agents. They're not going to talk about it. They're just going to be like, all right, cool. Good price, good HOA. All right, let's go. That's one huge way you could. Yeah.
The other thing I talk about HOAs depends on the kind of loan, the type of loan the buyer is using. Because if they're using FHA, the condo unit or development has to be approved for the FHA. So that's one thing that when they say, oh, my budget is 350 and I can only buy a condo. So because you're FHA, we have to look at the list in the area you're looking at if they are FHA approved. I don't want them thinking, why aren't you showing me this one? Because it's not FHA approved.
Boom. Yeah, really, really good job. And that's part of that, like, ties into that preparation part and your delivery. Like, you know, you want to, it's just clearly, yeah, you want to also, like, that's a really good point, because you never know what you might assume, okay, they're FHA, so I'm just putting FHA. They told me they're FHA. Maybe they see that on this listing, it says financing, you know, accepted financing FHA. You assume they just get it, but a lot of times they don't fucking have any idea. And then they look on Zillow and they see another condo, or another realtor sends them a condo. And they're, well, why is she sending me this, but Christina's not? Is Christina just trying to funnel me into a property sheet that is offer better buyer commission, or she knows the seller, or blah, blah, blah. So you want to just, the more you can clarify and educate, the less, the more you minimize those type of potential issues that, you know, then they have, that's an issue where you're not even, you're doing something for them, but they actually perceive it as you're doing something that's not, you know, you're not fighting, you know, you're not their advocate, or you don't have their back. So really, yeah, great call, great shout out, great share. It's really, there's probably millions of other ways that I'm not even thinking about just related to condos. You can literally just think of, and again, this is if you sold condos, but I'm sure if you've sold several condos, you've had issues, you've run into issues during closing, during inspections, etc. Those are where you, using those case studies and what you did as the agent to solve them or to mitigate them, is where you show your value. Yeah, and again, you could put those into your prior presentation, but you can also just, like, create a campaign of these, create these email templates, whatever it may be, but figure out different ways to share them, put them on, you know, to your site, add them to, and yeah, really several ways you can deliver, millions of ways you can deliver them. Just figure out the ones you want to do and do it. Awesome. So cool. I think,
Patrick,
yeah.
another thing that I do is I text them my buyer's guide before the meeting.
Nice.
Yeah, just text it to them. And so when you get to the meeting, you don't spend too many times, so much hours talking about what to expect at the meeting, because you've already sent that and you're going to focus on that. And then you can add the other things that you want to talk about, like if they decide to go for condo. Because if I'm meeting a buyer for the first time, I don't know if they already talked to a lender. I don't know if they have a pre-approval. I don't know what their budget is. So those are the things that I'm going to cover at the meeting. Not so much as the buyer's guide. Oh, this page, because I already texted it to them.
Yeah. And I mean, it totally depends on your flow, but like, if you have somebody who's doing a buyer consultation, you know, they want to, like, go to coffee with you. Okay, great. If you're on the fly or kind of different appointments, either way, I recommend sending it to them first. Whether it's email, text, etc. I'm going to be, as long as it gets approved by everybody, this will be part of a new plan, like for all flex leads. They're going to start getting content from you, and including the generic buyer guide. But it will come with your signature from your email, but at least that will come to them. And then along with other content that will come sequenced out. But yeah, I highly recommend getting them anything you can to them before, any valuable content that you can get that will either help set up, tee you up for a great presentation, keep it more efficient, etc. Personally, if I was an agent, I think what I would be doing is I would be sending it out right away, text or email, depending which one to do. And then I would show up with a packet with it printed out.
Yeah.
And I would also have it on my iPad to go through it with them, or on my computer to go through it with them in a professional manner. That's if I would want to be doing it at what I would think is my highest level. Included though, what I would also do with that, when they get that email from me with my buyer presentation, I would have a link to my reviews, and I would probably have one video at least showing a client testimonial or something showing me to be a winner other than me talking about me being a winner. And Wally, who was just with us, he did take off for another team, but he had a really Wally Parvanta had it's not, I want to share this with you. It's not like super clean and professional looking, but it works. He has, in his email, you go down here, he's got his accolades, his veterans, he's got what he's a part of, top 1% agents, Redfern reviews, Zillow reviews, his website, and this link to his client testimonial. Again, this isn't like super great looking because it's not well formatted, but it works because people see it. I had an email like this, and it was just we didn't have like professional cards. This is like 15 years ago. Just my name, team, etc. But I had a little icon for YouTube, and it showed like, watch how we sell properties that others couldn't sell, and then another link for like reviews, and another link for our presentation. But essentially, it was just because I was doing a bunch of cold calling. What we used to do is take over withdrawn and expired listings. We'd stage them, paint a couple walls if we needed to, even change out a like really affordable backs, do some like minor improvements, professional photography, list it, and we'd sell the fucking thing always more than what the other agent had sold. We were lucky because we were coming out of a shitty market into a hot market too, so that helped. We were taking market listings that didn't show in a really tough market, putting them in a hot market with a makeover, and we were selling. So I would just take those examples, do before and afters, showed the difference. This home was on the market with Coldwell Baker 183 days for 492,000. We listed it at 530 and got multiple offers, and we're under contract in 42 hours. 48 hours. Like those type of things people saw, and I would just get called back. Oh wow, we just watched your video. Like you guys are the real deal. You guys aren't just fucking doing the same shit as everybody. That was a whole nother deal. We had staging trucks. We had a staging. We built that. We used, funny story, we started using our own fucking couch from our living room as our staging. We used our own couch and just a couple little frames and mirrors and little towels we put in the bathroom. Literally, it was pretty shit. When we look back, it was like, wow, our first stage just had a couch in the fucking living room. And then the bathrooms and the kitchen were a little dulled out. That was it. We moved that fucking couch to the next house after it sold. We used that fucking couch everywhere except our house going forward. And then we just obviously started buying houses or couches, and we had tons of houses to stage. So then it turned into a whole service. Then my sister we had a big old staging trailer with our logo and branding on it. We ended up with a fucking storage, a staging team. This whole thing developed out, but that was our niche. That was what we decided to really hone in on. And my sister was a savage at it. I was really good at cold calls. I wasn't really good. I was like super weak at listing appointments at that time. I had zero confidence, but I was really good at cold calling and teeing up the appointment and then passing on to her, and she crushed it. All right, wasn't going to really go there, but it is really, you find something you're good at, you find a gap in the industry or where you see you can provide a higher level of service, fucking run with it. And okay, cool. So boom. I think that's really like, I mean, the last little part of this before practice, optimizing your online presence, get reviews, get them always, guiding them to provide better reviews, reminding about the wins, the breakthroughs, etc., and update those. Take those reviews and leverage them. Update your agent bio, add your videos. If you guys, once we have these fully delivered and created, and the generic one, which will be by week's end, if you ever want to update these, we'll have a form that you can just send it to the VA, like, hey, a new bio or a new review, where we can do it for you, or you'll have access to an editable one yourself. But really make sure stuff's clean. Like I would highly recommend, the more with this NAR stuff, I think is people are going to spend more time researching online than they ever have before choosing a realtor. They used to do it in person, live, touring properties with Christina. Next week, I'll check out Jacqueline. Oh, Regina's out of town. I'll go back to Christina, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just kind of touring very casually. But the ones that are ready to buy and they know they need to choose a realtor and they get it, they're going to spend time. What I do, like if I'm doing anything, I do almost everything. I mean, every restaurant I decide, I go online and check out what they're doing on reviews. If I'm walking down the street with my girlfriend last night in Bolivia, walking down the street, figuring out what to eat, we see a cool looking restaurant, looks really nice. I literally pull out my phone and check the reviews before I even fucking look at the menu. So people are absolutely going to be doing this. So if your online presence isn't strong, great. Now's a great time to start. And what's nice, most agents aren't. So, but Wally was a good example. He has 87 reviews on Zillow, and you can see he's leveraging. He's asking for them because he's got them, and he's leveraging them on his signature. That's just one area. So yeah, really recommend that. And then like next level stuff, if you wanted to do, I would update, especially for Flex. If you have any past sales before you join Flex, get them in there. There's guides on how to do all this. All this stuff's available. You can go to Zillow and literally search the agent hub, adding sales to Zillow. Boom, it will show you a guide. Make sure your service areas are updated, your bio, your specialties, and then see where else you have online presence. Is your Facebook show that you're a realtor with WR? Is everything aligned? The last thing you want to have is like your Facebook saying you work for your previous brokerage and Zillow saying you're here. Again, you're causing confusion. Who the hell is this person? Who is Christina? Does she work for WR Properties? Coldwell Banker? What the Zillow? Who the fuck is she? I'll go with this person who I clearly see works for this agency. Boom, boom, boom. So clean, yeah, take the time and then the practice. And this is where I want to close out here is, practice. Again, like I said in the beginning, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't take the time and really realized how serious I could take this to level myself up. The best of everything, still practice. Steph Curry practices. There's not a better shooter in the fucking world, yet this guy practices every single day, hours upon hours. Why? Why do you think he's the best? Do you think he just was born that way? Yeah, he was born to really good lineage and great genes, and but he's still practicing. Even he, who was born with that lineage, with the stinger, best singer in the world. Do you think Rihanna? You think any of these things? Not saying she's the best. Don't want to start any arguments here, but she's damn good. Do you think she doesn't practice? It's kind of crazy when I think about it. I'm like, wow, all the best of the best practice. Yet I'd say 90% of realtors don't practice much. I know I didn't practice a lot. I did role play. I did like certain things when they were new or relevant or brought to my attention, but I wasn't practicing nearly as much. And the amount of trouble I have getting people on a call night or a role play is like, okay, nobody wants to practice, but I get it. Like, it's not my job to tell you what to do, but yeah, the opportunity is there. Cool. I think that's where we will close this out. Anybody have anything they want to share? Any questions, advice, also advice on how maybe I could do this better in the future? Please, I'm open. I'm only sensitive on Fridays, so if you have anything you want to share with me, any critical feedback.
Thank you, Patrick, for doing this. I feel like I gained a lot from this, and you obviously did a lot of work in preparing for this, and just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. And we finally have it's a mini one, but we finally have a little presentation. I wanted to, taking from your feedback and things I thought about in the past too, but wanted to get these things a little more professional, organized, and not winging it. Yeah, so thank you. And again, for your feedback to help me level up, and really appreciate the feedback and the hearts. I'll always accept with a lot of gratitude any hearts. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, 301. Thank you guys for showing up. Awesome. Y'all are already ahead of the game. Reach out if you have any questions about this or anything at all. And you guys have a great week. Thank you guys.